Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. Okay, you're asking about the thumbnail. The thumbnail is a chimera fish type. So it was actually kind of weird because this thing washed up and they're like, oh, yeah, that's just a chimera fish. But then when I look up chimera fish, it didn't really look like that, but there's a lot of kinds of chimera fish. So, chimera fish. So that's one of the big mysteries, actually, is that thumbnail thing. And I'm like, okay, hello? I don't know. My internet was fine until like 15 minutes ago. And then OBS crashed the first time I tried to load it, which it has never done. Page. Oh, did you guys curse me by talking about electronics? Page unresponsive. Chimera. And it's doing weird stuff. I've never had OBS crash. I think I'm just going to go through the links I have up already before I try to get crazy. Pelican fish. So yeah, anyway, chimera fish. Let's see. Are we totally frozen? No. Does this move? No. Page unresponsive. This does not bode well. Okay, I'm going to start going through these. Fingers crossed. If I close some of these weird screens, I might be able to solve the problem sometimes. Okay, this is a really bizarre one. Go. And hopefully I'm still live. TikTok is creating tics in teens. So apparently there's been this huge swarm of children coming in with late onset Tourette syndrome. And Tourette syndrome, if you recall, is that thing where people can't like really control what they say. Like they have a really strong urge to speak out things, and sometimes they're inappropriate, or they may have a really strong urge to do certain motions or something. Like the urge builds up, and it's like the more they try to block the urge, the more they want to do it. And so it's called Tourette syndrome. So apparently a whole bunch of kids, now usually Tourette syndrome starts earlier in life, but these kids are already teens and they are started having these weird Tourette's. And they realized that the Tourette's kind of sounded like I guess there's certain well-known Tourette syndrome kids on TikTok, and these kids were watching that show, and then I don't think they did it on purpose, probably not the majority of them, but subconsciously maybe it had an effect on them or something. It's just kind of weird. So anyway, a bunch of these kids came in with late onset Tourette's, and I don't know what to say. Most of them were able to be treated. Not all of them have been treated. Okay, I have no idea if this is still streaming, so I'm going to renew this page. Hopefully that will fix it. So TikTok's creating tics in teen girls. I'm going to close that one. Is this still streaming? Still streaming. So usually OBS Studios like hogs all of the computer power. So I'm going to assume I'm still streaming, even though this thing does not want to load now. All right, I'm going on to the next thing. Hopefully I won't have to repeat all this. This one's also pretty bizarre for me in California. Apparently there's a bug that lives on the beach near the shore, like right where you are when you splash around in the water, like the shoreline. And it bites, and they're calling them mini sharks. They're these little, and they're only like, like a third of an inch. So like just, like that. It's down here somewhere. There's an image of them. There it is. They're calling them mini sharks. So apparently these suckers, which are actually this kind of creature here, they eat like flesh. Okay, so they're like little mini piranhas. They don't always care if the flesh is dead yet, and they'll bite you. And they said that like it hurts a lot, and there'll be blood sometimes, and it'll hurt for like 15 to 20 minutes, which seems pretty long for just an ordinary bite. I mean, if I stepped on, if I got a little cut or something, it wouldn't hurt for 15 to 20 minutes. So there's a person on here saying there was blood all over between my toes, and the pain subsided within 15, 20 minutes. That's like a really long time when it comes to pain. And then they're talking about this general class of isopods. So I've had on before the giant isopods. I don't remember these giant isopods. They're actually showing it here. They're like huge isopods. So now this is another isopod. And then those weird three-eyed isopods that showed up in the desert, that was another isopod. So like we're getting all these isopods. And what's weird about these isopods is there's a whole lot of fossil isopods. And so it's almost like the fossil stuff is manifesting now. We're getting more and more of these isopods, and they're weird. I think that weird that weird creature that like eats the tongue of fish and then replaces them, I think that's an isopod also. So lots of creepy. Okay, now we're frozen over here. Not good. All right, but we basically got the story on these mini sharks, so I'm going to close that one. Now I'm going to hope that this one's running. Because it does not look good. Does not look good at all. Look at this. Nothing. Dang, I was hoping I could at least get through this one. Come on. This is weird because I'm not really sure how to fix this, because usually, well, I've never had this problem before, so this is just new. Of course, it was working fine earlier. All right, let me just try closing that one. We have 2 tabs. Close all. Start over. I don't know. Page unresponsive. This is not good. Okay, close that. I think I'm gonna have to close this one, which has other stuff I like on it. Close that. Close all. I will try using a different browser. Sometimes that'll fix things. I'm really trying desperately not to have to reboot the computer at this point. Please. That's funny because I was very much like scrolling through your comments, and it did say that people were having unusual electronic problems. And let's hope that they're temporary. Yes. Okay, it loaded. I have internet. It's loading very slowly. Not a good sign. Ah, here we go. No restoring of pages. Aha. All right. This might be a good sign. Now I'm going to have to load back into YouTube to see if everything's cool on your end. All right. I think what I'm going to do, so you don't see all my login info, is I can stop sharing that screen for a second. think I can remove display capture for a second. Video capture, display capture. All right, I'm going to move those out real quick while I log into that other stuff. I think if I do this... Or not. I thought I could do... Close that one. I think I got it now. I'll be right back. I think you can still hear my audio input though. So this will be a learning curve for me too. Now this is not responding. All right, I might be in trouble here. I don't even know how to fix this. I really don't. All right, I'm putting that back on because it does not look good. This is now not working. Not responding. I have no idea if you guys are even still there. So, I'll try. Can I try next? Go back to Brave. It does load faster. If I have to reboot, it's going to take so long. $31 watching live. That's a good sign. All right, I'm just going to check to make sure I'm still live. That will be the smartest way. I don't actually have to see the studio, right? If I'm still on here... I don't see me. This is not a good sign. Oh, yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Looks like I'm still running. Oh. All right. I'm just going to try to get through some stuff before it crashes. And we're just going to have to keep our fingers crossed. So I'm going to assume everything else that was there is still up. So we got Chimera Fish, Mini Sharks, TikToks. All right. Mirabolite. Oh, fingers crossed. All right, I've never heard of this Mirabolite mounds. So it's something that is growing on the salt lakes. Dare I chase these images? I'm not sure what's going to set off the computer, so I got my fingers crossed. So the story on these, I have a feeling we're going to see more of this. So the story then is that these are salt crystals, but the salt is actually in a layer underground, and some kind of a weird storyline they have in certain situations, the salt is pushed to the surface and then crystallizes. Now, I do know of a lake in California where you would get salt crystals, but it was only when the water was there. And the story was that the water was so hyper salinated, it was so saline that crystals would naturally form. But these things are pushing up on the ground where there's no water and then creating these salt creations. Kind of on its own. And so the story is You never saw these before because it only happens in certain situations. I think we're going to see more and more of this. So, like, they're calling them mounds. Rare Martian minerals appear in Utah's Great Salt Lake. So, this is like in Salt Lake City, or like in the Salt Lake by Salt Lake City. Oh, the computer is holding up. Woo! Mysterious white mounds spark alarm after appearing across Great Salt Lake. So the Great Salt Lake is the same lake we had on recently because a bunch of it is like red now, like a lot of the time. Now look, there's a little person in this image right here. This is a person running on these white mounds. Park rangers in Utah are concerned and confounded by the appearance of strange white mounds along the shorelines of the Great Salt Lake. Over the last several winters, rangers have noticed the lake's usually flat southern shoreline has been pocked by unusual white mounds. Rangers reached out to other agencies. One of the rangers contacted the Utah Geological Survey, who collected samples and said they're a type of salt formation called Mirabolite Mound, which is sometimes called Glauber's salt. I've never heard of Glauber's salt. The formations are generally rare and occur when underground water reacts with minerals and then bubbles up to the surface. When the mixture mingles with cold air, it forms white crystals, which then solidify into chalky white mounds. But you can see some of those mounds were really crystal forms up close. So I think we're going to see more of these pretty crystals. So basically, minerals now bubble up out of the ground and create their own crystals because of cold air. Mounds were first spotted in 2019. Generally, the section of the lake where they cropped up would be covered in water, but the lake's levels have dropped significantly due to worsening drought. This has provided an ideal environment for the mounds to grow. The UGS report suggested that the mounds may eventually seal off their initial water source, which forces the groundwater to find a new path to the surface. When that happens, a new mound forms, continuing the cycle. I don't understand why the groundwater is trying to find a path to the surface on dry land to start with. We've recorded 15 of these mounds. They've also gotten bigger, with one measuring 3 feet in height. Last year, there was also one that was 35 feet long. Rangers have begun leading tours to the mound sites. Lending to the interest is the fact that the mounds are temporary. The mounds need the cold air of winter to form. Okay, the cold air of winter. When was this article written? September 2022. The cold air, is it cold in Salt Lake City right now? Because, I mean, it's a bajillion degrees Fahrenheit. And like the middle of summer lately here in California. I mean, the cold air of winter. All right. I'm going to risk it. Weather report. Salt Lake City. Cold air of winter. Weather today. Okay. 95 degrees during the day and 81 degrees at night. Doesn't sound very cold to me. The cold air of winter. Now, I guess you could argue that maybe it was cold like a few weeks ago, but I mean, it's, there it goes. I think we're back into the trouble lands here. Oh, got it back. Fingers crossed. 97 degrees, 90, 86, 82. All right, it was like 80 over here. Looks like there was some rain, which seems kind of weird because wouldn't that kind of melt the salt formations? Over the past few winters. I don't get it. That it's not winter. So are they writing this article now about something that happened last winter? Um, shouldn't they have been writing about those in the winter? All right, this is not a good sign because I think we've lost functionality again. Sorry, I'm afraid to even check on you guys because I don't know how long everything's going to last for on here. About the Mirabolite spring mounds. Now, I kind of assuming they meant spring like in water springs up from underground springs, or do they mean it happens in the spring? All right. I'm going to look at the wiki really quick here. Hopefully. Hydrous sodium sulfate mineral with the chemical formula Na2SO4. Ooh, it's not going. That's not a good sign. I'm not getting that one either. All right. I'm going to close this and start rebooting, or not rebooting. I'm going to try restarting that window again. It worked last time for a little bit. And well, let me check my next one. Giant Alaska. I'll skip that one. Aha. I'm going to attempt to make sure that you are still there, which means I have to log in and stuff. YouTube Studio. I'll close that one since we're done. I'm not sure if this is a memory issue or what, but live. Okay, it didn't make me log in, so there was that. So hopefully you've been hearing me this whole time. I think you have. Can rust cause a tower to fall down? It. I think it just froze again. I think it can if it's a metal tower and the rust is really old, like really extensive. Yes. Page unresponsive. All right. Try one more time. All right, I've kind of got a clue now if it flashes. Does anyone remember Gelatin B, the artist residency program in the Twin Towers? I've never even heard of it. All right, I know we have had that weird hotel that was right in front of the Twin Towers. Now, did that one at the south end of San Diego? They make sea salt by drying the water. Yeah, you take water and then you dry out the water part, and you have the salt left behind. This is different. The Mirabolite mounds you've got dry seashore on the surface, and then the salt bubbles up on its own from below. So that's what the difference is for Mirabolite mounds. Salt is exposed when the salty water evaporates. Nope, that's not what's happening. It's bubbling out on its own. It's growing like a big fungi or something. Yeah, that Marriott. I agree. We've had that on before, but it's been a while. Yeah, this is not summer heat by evaporation. Mirabolites are not that. Oop, did it freeze again? No. Anyway, I don't know what they're talking about with the winter weather because it's the middle of summer. A lot more places where different waters meet but don't mix. I totally agree with you. I guess once the phenomena is there, anytime two different colors waters meet, they're not going to mix either. Yeah, there's a lot of weird salt stuff coming up. The hotel in between the Twin Towers. Yes, yes. Great Salt Lake water didn't exist in the past. Salton Sea is new too. That's interesting. Now, for me, the Salton Sea was the result of the '60s, like an accident. And originally, then there had been like just a kind of a low area, and the accident caused it to fill, and they said it was artificial, so they weren't going to save it. But now it's always been there for a long, long, long time naturally, and the accident just caused it to get bigger. So now it's natural, but a little bit bigger than natural due to the accident. The other thing is it just magically is getting bigger and bigger, even though they keep saying that it is evaporating, getting smaller. It's hogging more and more space on the map. And I've had people who don't even believe in the Mandela notice that. Like, why does it look so big on the map? So the Salton Sea is growing. You know, now that you actually mention it about the Great Salt Lake, I do have in my mind a memory of it just being like a salt, like there used to be a lake and there was not any more lake. So, and when I flew over it last time, I don't remember there being that much of a lake. So that also might be expanding quite a bit. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, again, this is not something I'd swear to, but Jenga for this week and many in the city I live. Okay, Shari, we'll give it a shot and see if we can click on it and get some info. Oh, yes, I did. Okay, I did hear about this Jenga building in the news. So you're saying it wasn't there for you? Because I've never seen it and I was curious about it. Let's see, when was this thing built though? So 2013. So it's kind of new. Still, I mean, that's 9 years old. So I'm not a New Yorker, so you guys can tell me. So that must be that one I was talking. Jenga buildings, I guess. I don't know if you know Jenga, but you stack the blocks and then you try to pull out blocks without the whole thing falling over. So yes, it does look like a building that's Jenga. Trump's Mandela, Trump's special master. Never heard of that. You're right, Gerald. I have never heard of that. But I'm not like a lawyer person, so I do feel that certain things have suddenly changed, like well, not suddenly, but suddenly a few years ago, certain rules about the Supreme Court, I do feel have changed. because I had looked into certain things. But a lot of this stuff I've never looked into. So if it comes out of the woodwork, I am not in a good position to know for sure. Special Master is one of those things. I've never heard of it, but, you know. Weird town near me pops up on and off on maps. Appears more frequently lately. Well, what was the name of it? Lone Eagle used to talk about weird buildings in New York, but he never showed this. Seems like reality goes through themes. Yeah, that could be it with the with those certain kind of creatures coming back. Lenticular clouds keep showing up. I didn't have those in my original timeline. There was only like 4 or 5 kinds of clouds. Gerald, the reason I'm not rebooting is it just sometimes takes forever. I mean, sometimes I can reboot quickly, but I've had it where it took a half hour to reboot. That's why I don't want to do it. Something is chewing on my CPU. Yes, I don't know. More strange lakes popping up in Minnesota and Wisconsin. That's been a really strong trend from the start is more inland waterways and more lakes. What, the Salton Sea got nuked? Are you telling me the Salton Sea got nuked? Because that is definitely new. The Jenga building is situated in a very known place in New York. Couldn't have missed it. Yeah, like I said, I'm all over in California, so I can be the first one to say, no way did they have foot-biting beasties all along the water line. So those foot-biting beasties that California has, I don't think I even really went into the minute sharks. Otherwise known as waterline isopods, are found year-round in Pacific Northwest and Canada. So all and up and down California and all the way up to Canada are these waterline isopods that can bite and draw blood. And they've always been here biting people, and that is total baloney. They strip flesh from dead things and live things. So it, be right where you'd be walking, like everybody and their uncle would be walking. So it's just no. Exirolana chiltoni is the scientific name. All right, I'm trying to decide what I should do next. I don't know. There's a lot of kind of medium quality ones. I don't know which ones. Behavior matches what used to be called sand fleas. Actually, now that you mention that, people used to talk about biting sand fleas occasionally at the beach. First of all, I've never heard of any of even sand fleas drawing blood, okay? I mean, when a flea bites you, it doesn't, like, blood doesn't ooze out all over the place. It's just a little itchy later. But second of all, when people told me about sand fleas, I went home and I looked it up, and they said sand fleas just jump around, and they call them fleas because they bounce. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to the beach and there'll be like mounds of seaweed and these bouncy fleas, and they didn't bite. And they were very clear that they didn't bite. Also, the sand fleas kind of bounce all over the coast, like on the land. They weren't like in the water like these isopods are. So for me, they're a whole different thing. And like I said, I looked up sand fleas and they didn't bite. I wanted to know if there was anything that bit. This was years ago. All right, so this is one I want to look up. Salton Sea nuclear. This is insane. There has never been a nuclear nothing at Salton Sea. California is my home. Love it or hate it. And it always has been. All right, so it looks like they didn't actually drop nuclear bombs, but they dropped like practice run fakey bombs. I've never heard of it being the test drop zone for any bombs. Certainly not the ones we dropped on Japan, though. What happened to the Salton Sea? The story of the Salton sink. All right, no. Test-based history. I'll try that one. The Salton Sea test base is located along Highway 86. Huh. An inactive facility with no working population. I don't remember there being an abandoned facility near the Salton Sea either. The U.S. Navy conducted a preliminary inspection of the Salton Sea in January 1940. See, that would make sense because for me, the Salton Sea showed up originally in the 60s, a little before I was born was the story, due to a accidental water spill where I think some like a small earthen dam broke and released a bunch of agricultural water, and they had trouble sealing the breach, and so the area filled up with water and created the Salton Sea in the 60s. So there would be no inspection of the Salton Sea in 1942 by Naval Auxiliary Air Station because it didn't exist there. Experimental testing of solid fuel plane launch rockets, jet assist, I assume they mean assist, takeoff resting, aeroballistic testing of inert atomic weapon test units at land and marine target centers. All right, so they didn't actually drop a nuke. We might need a few more shifts before that happens. So it's abandoned now. That might be fun to inspect if it's not guarded. The Navy resumed custody of the Salton Sea base in 1964, with the understanding that the Atomic Energy Commission material not recovered from the marine target during the test unit recoveries would remain the property of the Atomic Energy Commission. So they had Atomic Energy Commission material there. The San Felipe Lodge and Water Treatment Facility were abandoned due to extensive damage from hurricanes in 1976 and 1977. We've never had a hurricane in California. That's not right. There's been no hurricane damage. What in the bleeposaurus bleep? This is getting weirder and weirder. All right, so there is some kind of inert nukes material there that are now property of some government agency. Radioactive material. Right, this one might describe it. Testing the fusing and firing systems, telemetry. Only inert test units were dropped. does not indicate that any test bombs dropped at the base, with the exception of one MK6 fly-around unit contained radioactive materials. All right, so why is there this story about any such materials being the property? This sounds just kind of weird. The test units may have contained lesser amounts of aluminum, lead, acid, and nickel cadmium battery fragments. The MK6 fly-around unit contained 120 pounds of normal uranium. The unit was accidentally dropped at an unknown location in the Salton Sea during aerial testing of the test unit. Okay, so there is 120 pounds of normal uranium somewhere in the Salton Sea. An unknown location. You drop it, but you don't know where you dropped it. That sounds like a bunch of hoo-ha. You dropped it, you didn't write it down, you didn't go pick it up, nothing. Just like, oopsies. Oh well, just pretend it didn't happen. All right, this is weird. I've never heard of there being 120 pounds of normal uranium. What is the even point of carrying around normal uranium? Just carry around something heavy. Then they accidentally dropped it. You accidentally dropped 120 pounds of normal uranium. This whole story sounds like total crap. And I feel like maybe this is like a Mandela in progress, and that's why it just sounds ridiculous. Maybe it'll make more sense later. Standard practice include recovery of the non-retarded test unit fragments for use in reanalysis. But they didn't retrieve this 120 pounds of normal uranium. Oh no. SAC reportedly dropped more than 2,550 test units at the water target. Sandia dropped 1,200 test bombs. So there could be test bombs, and there's 120 pounds of uranium. This is baloney. There is no way. Let's see. No. Volcano mystery. Oh, amateur divers found the nuclear warhead, did they? When did that happen? Amateur divers found long-lost nuclear warhead. They stumbled upon a Mark 15 thermonuclear bomb that had been lost by the United States Air Force more than 50 years ago. While admiring the plants and fishes near the seashore, they noticed a large cylindrical item. They found out it was actually a sort of bomb or missile. Leading to the deployment of more than 20 ships and 1,500 men in the area. They rapidly located the powerful 3.8 megaton bomb. An unmanned submarine was sent to determine the condition of the bomb before explosive experts were sent to disarm it. Fortunately, the nuke was determined to be sufficiently in good shape for a team of Navy SEALs to try to defuse it. They deactivated the warhead after hours of strenuous work. I thought it was just an inert bomb. It was okay, so this was the fly-around bomb. Okay, so the fly-around bomb must not have been inert. This is baloney. There was not a freaking nuclear bomb in there. 48 hours delicate recovery. Lost in 1958. So they're saying that there was two planes that collided, and one of them had the bomb in it. Air Force looked for the bomb without success. Yet these guys just were shallow water diving and found it in 5 seconds. Seems a bit sus. Okay, when did this even happen? January of 20... Wait, that's not it. When is this article from? All right, in 2018, somebody left a comment, so we're going to assume that that's around maybe when it was posted. I hate it when they don't put the dates on these things. Okay, yeah, no, there was no effing bomb, but, you know, like I said, that the history of it has all changed, so, they dropped the nuke consultancy. I can't believe that. All right, so you are completely exonerated. Yes, they did drop a nuke by accident. It just didn't explode. Still, that's ridiculous. So, yeah, the story is now they two planes collided. I don't see how they didn't find it. I don't know. This is just weird. All right. Why did they test in California? They did testing in Nevada. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I've never heard of there being any bombs dropped anywhere on Salton Sea or any testing. There was a whole history of it. It was pretty dull in the old era. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, Japan. Really, that was spotted in Japan? It looks like a crack in the windshield, if I had to say. Now, do we have verification by more than one person that was seen? Because CGI nowadays, that would be pretty easy to fake. So we really need to have verification. I'm going to close that one. I'm going to close that one. And I'm just going to like carry on a bit here. Russia. All right, this one's not a Mandela, but I just think it's really weird. There's two really weird, not Mandelas, that just kind of are signs of the times. And they're kind of, I don't know. Where did that one go? Maybe it's on this side. I don't think I'm going to try to cover everything because the computer is just so crabby right now. Dang it, I can't find it on this page. Okay. Let's see if this loads. Okay, that could be because Swiss cows did not like. Swiss cows can be a little bit whiny of a search engine on certain subjects. It will refuse to give anything. So if it says could not find results, it usually means your results were blocked. Now, it's usually stuff like porn that they block. I don't know of any political stuff they block, but human flesh might have been enough to trigger their porn detector. To my knowledge, they only block porn, though, and that's what they claim. So I'll still use them, but I gotta watch when I add stuff like human flesh, even though this is not porn. All right. this company called Oomph won the Silver Brand Experience and Activation Lion for its vegan-based burger that is said to have the texture and taste of human flesh. Actually, I think it was just like the taste. It won the Cannes like Lion Award. So it won at Cannes. I thought that was just like a film festival, but I guess you can win human flesh tasting. Who would make a vegan burger that tastes like human flesh? That doesn't even make any sense at all. Swedish company. They say tastes like human flesh. First of all, how do you know what human flesh even tastes like? If you're a vegan, are you going to be wanting to taste human flesh? Or is this for non-vegans that want to know what human flesh tastes like? Of course, you can't really tell if they're lying because who knows what human flesh tastes like anyway. So in that way, I guess it's kind of genius. But who would buy this? And like, this is just creepy. Human meat, plant-based burger. And then they won awards for it. The burger is made with soy, mushrooms, and wheat protein, as well as plant-based fats and a mysterious spice mix. They wanted to convince meat lovers that plant-based products could replicate the taste of any meat. I don't know how you're proving to me that they can replicate human meat when I don't know what that tastes like. So what, if somebody was tasting human meat and then tasted this burger? How did they check this? I mean, is this like the precursor to Soylent Green or what? I don't know. So that was very creepy, and it just signs of the times, I guess, versus Mandela. The other one that I have for signs of the times is, when you think about that saying, signs of the times, it's an interesting saying. Maybe I'll kind of adopt it. So apparently, like a month ago, Congress sort of, kind of, quietly admitted that UFOs are not man-made, apparently, as best I can tell. So they didn't make a giant announcement about it, but what they did do was it was found in this like money appropriations bill where they're making an argument that they need money for this new group, department, I don't know, like organization, Authorization Act for fiscal year 2023. So it's like a budgetary thing. And in it, they said that like apparently they're making like videos and information that can't be explained as man-made, that are like UFO things, should be given to this committee, and then kind of indirectly admitted that we think that some can't be explained as man-made, and therefore we're researching those. And I don't know. It was kind of a weird admission that like didn't really go like mainstream at all, and I've hardly heard of it. So they're developing a the place they're opening is called All Domain Anomalous Resolution Office, ARROW, to investigate threats from anomalous, unidentified space, airborne, submerged, and transmedium objects. So I was like, what's a transmedium object? As best I can tell, it means that it can go from like water to air or air to space or whatever in some way that we don't understand. So from one medium to another. So they're basically have received money from Congress to investigate anything that they feel can't be explained in a man-made way. So we're moving along. Interesting. Arrow. It looks like they're calling them UAP instead of UFO now too. I've never heard of UAP until like 1 or 2 years ago, but it's always been here now, I guess, for some people. This government report admits true UFOs aren't man-made. This is investigating UFOs that aren't man-made. Congressional report says. So I don't know, I don't know. Let me see if I can get live streaming back here and see what you guys are up to. Ooh, it's fingers crossed. What, you don't get to eat the flesh-tasting burgers over in the Europe? I'm sure you're very disappointed. Read the full labels. There are everything as natural source. So natural flavorings, natural source. It means close to nothing. It basically means that at some point it was natural, but they could have gone through 500 chemical reactions since then and could be 10 times more poisonous than an unnatural source. And I've heard rumors that natural flavorings are often more unhealthy than actual artificial ingredients because they need to somehow get it from a natural source, and it can sometimes be kind of going through a lot of processes versus just, going straight to the source. Like if you just made, I don't know if this is a good example, but say you just made citric acid with the most efficient chemical process that exists versus like, this might be a terrible example, but say you had to, your only source of citric acid was slime molds, and then you had to, go through 15 processes to get it out, to convert it, remove it from the slime mold and convert it and color it and bleach it and deodorize it, and then blah, blah, blah. By the time you're all done, you would have better off just, chemically producing it. So you can't trust natural as an ingredient. Approved by lizards, taste exactly like the real thing. Yeah, I mean, there's so many questions there. Soylent Rainbow. It's vegan Soylent Green. But if it tastes just like human flesh, then how do you know there's none in there? Like, they're getting you ready for the taste, guys. They're getting you prepared. I don't know. I mean, that might just be all crazy, but the vegan lizards. Okay, so next thing, since we're still alive on the show, fingers crossed, got that one. So once upon a time, I think I've lost, yeah, nope, I no longer have that. All right. Map, French territories. I think I can find it again easily. There's been just a bunch of weird France things. So I think I covered before that France is actually not France. France is just a nickname now, but it's not called France. It is called French Republic. And a republic is popping up everywhere. I keep trying to figure out the exact difference between a republic and a democracy, and it's so like fuzzy, and my brain really is not tacking it down, and it seems like it's a little different all the time. Republic basically just means like it's governed by the people versus like a monarchy. So it's not a very specific word, but it's shown up in California. Flag is it says California Republic. Now, one thing that's really weird about the California flag is it says California Republic on it. But if you look up Wiki, it says we were only a republic for a really short time. And basically some whack jobs, well, that might be a little mean. Some apparently drunken fools announced that California was a republic and made a flag that was like the stupidest looking flag I've ever seen in my life, drawn by a kindergartner, and kicked out some people from the local fort and flew this flag. And then they announced that California was a republic, and it lasted for like a very short time until it wasn't a republic anymore. I mean, it was never a republic. I mean, I could go right now, well, maybe if I was lucky, and take over a fort and fly the flag. That doesn't mean that I have just converted the whole state into whatever republic I claim it is. That doesn't. So California was never an effing republic. They're saying it was only a republic for a short time, but some drunken idiots flying a flag and declaring it a republic does not make California a republic. So according to the official story, they said California was only a republic for a short time. It was never a republic. But I'm thinking, it's on the flag. Why would you pick a flag that says republic on it if you were only a republic for a short time and you're not a republic now, but you pick a flag that says republic on it, even though you're not one? But then if a republic just means governed by the people, are they saying we're not one because we're part of the United States and that's a republic? I don't get it. So I'm thinking we might somehow become a republic down the line, and that's why it's on the flag. Because the way the timeline is going, and what is the definition of republic? It's like nailing down Jello anyways. So, okay, so France is now French Republic. And they've got all these effing territories. So, Taro, our friend in Japan, who I just call Taro because I don't know how to say their name, was asking about map. Okay, ask it about French territories. Okay, that was in the comments. Man, I'm losing my brains here. I'm not seeing. Oh, here. This, I believe, is it. I just don't remember them having all these territories. And if you're born in the French territory, then you're French. You can vote in the French elections. You are totally like America has territories that you can if you're born there, you're a citizen, but you don't get to vote in like the presidential election. But if you're in a France territory, that's the same as being born on France. You have every single exact same right. And they've got a bunch of them, and I just don't remember. Like all of a sudden I'm seeing all this stuff about all their bajillion territories everywhere. They've got they're peppered everywhere. Here's the map. This is what I want. So all of these are pieces of France which they own. So of course France over here in Europe, but here, blah, blah, blah. Now I just heard about this one. So I was I already had this one on my list. This is Pierre and Maquelon over here. Saint Pierre and Maquelon. I've never heard of that. It's not that far from the United States. So I'm like, what? France owns property. That's France right there. And then they got one out here, Clipperton Island. Okay, so they have out by Mexico. Then they got a bunch out here by Cuba. French Guyana, that I think might be a little older. I don't remember what all these are. Martinique, Guadeloupe. I've heard of Martinique. I've not heard of Guadeloupe. Saint Barthélemy, not heard of that one. And Saint Martin. I think I've heard of Saint Martin. I'm not sure though. I've certainly not heard of these two. Reunion Island I've heard of, but not until a couple years ago, and I don't remember it being French, but I might have just heard of it a couple years ago and it was French then, and I didn't know it. And Mayotte, I've never heard of that. Looks like they own property over here by Australia too. New Caledonia they own. That is kind of new. I thought that showed up. I mean, there was nothing around Australia before, so... And this area has grown greatly, so it's pretty safe to say that's new. I've never heard of Wallis and Futuna either. So, yeah, French. I don't know. Try to keep a general memory of these territories because I think we might see more. I don't know what is about France. All right, let's see. You guys still there? Yes, you are still there. Yes, it was a state, never a republic. Yeah, I don't know, but it's on our flag now. California Republic. State of confusion. Ah, that's what I'm in. I belong in California if this is the state of confusion. It's officially called French Republic. Yes, it's officially called French Republic. That is the official name of it. France. I know. French Republic. Have you ever heard of that? France. France, officially the French Republic. République Française, French pronunciation, République Française, is a country in Western Europe, blah, blah, blah. I wonder if it says when it got its name. Law, history. I don't know. That's kind of a lot of writing, but I mean, it's not recent. It didn't like recently say, oh, we're Republic of France or French Republic. So yeah. How Cali? I don't know. It's on the flag though. Like I covered that a few weeks ago. So for me, it was just a few weeks ago that it showed up on the flag. It was never on the flag before. My animals won't touch me from Walmart, so haven't gotten from there. Yeah, I would not be surprised. My old dog would not touch meat from Taco Bell either. California was the golden state. That was our motto, but it wasn't on the flag. And that still is our motto. It just says California Republic on the flag. And that star showed up and the red line at the bottom of the flag. So I don't know. Gerald, not for me. I actually saw it show up for me. Maybe you're new to me too. So you know what? Welcome. I have entered this timeline. I do not remember you on here before. Painting my grandmother did and the painting my mother did both have new additions. Yeah, there's this place I eat at, and they have a lot of hand painted art on the wall, like scenery, nature scenes and stuff. And one thing that showed up was that one of them had a moon, and that rainbow that sometimes goes around the moon showed up in there. It's always been there now. I'm like, yeah, no, those weren't a thing before. Does anyone told the ETs we have unalienable rights? Used to be inalienable. Yes. Like unalienable. Does that mean you did not get the arm pokety, so you're unalien? I don't know. Really a stretch. I have no idea what those things are really doing, but it just kind of makes a joke there. Temptations cat treats have Halloween treats called Tasty Human. Are you serious? Oh my God. Are we going to Soylent Green or what? I don't. Oh my God. Are you serious? They're getting us ready for this or something. Cat treats Tasty Human. Oh my gosh. And the sad part is that my cat loves Temptations. Now, I'm going to assume that it doesn't actually taste like humans and they just relabeled it as a joke. Yeah, they're in there. Amazon has them, I think. Let's see if it comes up. It does. Tasty Human. Temptations classic crunchy and soft cat treats. Tasty Human chicken liver and beef flavor. Okay, I'm going to assume it's their normal flavors with a goofy label. Still, you can't ask the cat if it's ever bit a human and if they taste the same. Yeah, okay. Check out the history of New Britain, Papua New Guinea, first native. Then Dutch failed to take it, then Hetman, then Australian, then Japanese, then I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the history of that one. They used the guillotine to become a republic after someone said, let them eat cake. Of course, that's a Mandela. She never said, let them eat cake in this timeline. Now it's just a common misconception. YouTube never sends me notice and keeps unsubbing me. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know, YouTube. What's the difference between Saint Martin and Saint Martin? I thought it was Martinique. Okay. Oh, okay. One is Dutch half and one is French. So there's a U.S. Virgin Islands and then there's a like French Virgin Islands. The U.S. Virgin Islands is a Mandela for many. The French Virgin Islands are generally not. Weird fact that artificial vanilla flavoring is made from beaver. Artificial, that would be natural flavoring if it's made from beaver glands. I've only just heard about that a few years ago, so I do have to wonder how far that goes back. New Zealandia. Yeah, they announced that as a new continent a few years ago. I don't know if you check now, maybe it was been that way for 50 years for all I know. Nobleness D used to talk about that island belonging to France near Canada in 2018-19. It was a huge Emmy for him, and it nearly made him mad. Okay, well, I agree with him that don't belong there. I'm not sure if I was in the timeline as early as him, though. UK uses the term Commonwealth. Don't get me started on the Commonwealths. States are Commonwealths. Places that weren't Commonwealths now are Commonwealths as far as the United States. The Commonwealth is another one. Like, what does that even mean if some states are Commonwealths and some islands are Commonwealths and some aren't Commonwealths? And Gerald, I don't think you're from my timeline. That's all I got to say, because a lot of this stuff is was pretty popular. Mandela's by many, so if they weren't for you, then that's just how it is. But it is for a lot of people. All right, so where am I? I'm almost afraid to say it, but the computer seems to be working. Please. All right, got through that. All right, this is another one. I got slowed down by all that trouble too. Venera 12. Okay, we've talked about many people not remembering that you could land on Venus. And then suddenly you could land on Venus, and we did. And it was for 20 minutes. We managed to land on Venus for 20 minutes. So 20 minutes now has a solid ground you can land on. It's just that the atmosphere now is so caustic that it causes a lot of problems. Now, for a lot of us, it used to be too swirly and did not have solid land, but now it does. So it was, last time I checked into it, they landed for 20 minutes. But now, when I was checking this earlier, it went to 110 minutes that it was able to stay on there. Continuing for about 110 minutes after touchdown, the lander transmitted data to the flight platform for about 110 minutes until the flight platform, which remains in heliocentric orbit, moved out of range. So instead of it getting like eroded and melting, the platform moved out of range. So that was Venera 12. So that's a whole different storyline than it got eaten by corrosive materials within 20 minutes and only survived for 20 minutes. And if I am a tad lucky, we have a photo, supposedly, whatever you want to believe, of Venus from one of these Venera landers. Venera 12 Venus photo. It looks a lot like the American desert plus a color filter, of course. But hey, what do you know? Yes, that's the one I saw right there. Yoink. So this is the supposed appearance. Well, it's not letting me make it big. Open image in new tab. Doink. Oh, so tiny. But apparently there's Venus, and this is the Venera lander. I have no idea what that thing is. It just looks like ordinary desert with some green in it. Not to be confused with Mars, which has the red filter. Okay, I'm joking. Maybe I'm not joking. I don't know what's going on anymore. But we didn't have a picture of effing Venus from the Venera lander. Ooh, looks like there's more than one. Is this a bunch more of them here? Planetary images from then and now. Venus from 33 years ago. All right, so there's some more images of Venus. Open image in a new tab. Okay, whatever. I don't know. They're not the world's best photos, but still, we did not have photos of freaking Venus. I cry foul. 120 minutes now. Venera 14, so this is from Venera 14, plunged through the thick Venusian atmosphere to the surface, where this one successfully operated for 57 minutes. Like the 3 imaging landers before, its camera scanned back and forth across the surface while other instruments took measurements. The cameras would touch the horizon at either end of the panorama and dip down to the foot of the lander in the middle. A compromise which allowed images to be returned showing both the foreground and the horizon while having adequate resolution to be interpretable to be still returnable during the short surface mission. Venera 14 landed at a very rocky site. Being tipped a bit, one of the cameras barely touched the horizon while one side of the other camera gave the most sweeping view of the Venusian horizons we have. Okay. It just looks like a bunch of sand, like rocky sand, or, you know, when the sand gets that crust. Venera 14 showed a rocky, harsh surface with little regolith, blah, blah, blah. More photos. We did not have pictures of Venus last time I checked. Venus has been left alone since the end of the Magellan radar mapping mission in the early 90s. The final lander accomplished this mission, albeit with no camera, on June 15th. We need to go back. I'm curious why there's no heat haze in the images, the surface being 450 degrees Celsius. Ah, that's a good question. Based on data from Pioneer, Venus, and Venera, the lower atmosphere is very clear. Remember that hazes on Earth are due to water vapor, which is absent on Mars. Then somebody else says, nuh-uh, heat haze on Earth emerges because different temperature air have slightly different index of refraction. So when the sunlit ground is hot, it heats air and it rises and meets with cooler, colder air a meter or so above and becomes a chaotic, turbulent mix of different temperature air. The light being refracted when passed through this mess causes a hazing effect. On Venus, there's very little difference in temperature. Everything is about the same kind of crazy hot. So here there is much less of the convective mixing. That's interesting because I always heard that Venus was a turbulent vortex of gases and heat. And now they're saying, no, it's all, I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's all changed. You didn't used to be able to land on it. Now you can. Now we got photos. This is horse hockey. Sorry, I can't remember the kitchen that I lived in the late 80s. I lived there 4 years, cooked in it daily, and now it doesn't exist in my mind. You know, I just feel like a lot of stuff that I used to easily access from my past is hard to access. Now, they say when you get dementia, you remember the stuff from your childhood. But no, it's the recent stuff, 3 years ago I can remember. But childhood stuff's gotten hard. And high school, I actually probably remember elementary school better than high school. I don't know I can't remember the people very well. I used to look through my class list of people that graduated when I graduated. And I know I used to look through that and remember like half the names at least, and now I only remember 2% of them. So I don't know what the hell. I mean, like, I just don't know what the hell. Like, a lot of those names, I'm like, I have no recognition of that, ever hearing that name or hearing of that person, ever. Never heard of any Venus landing. Well, it has been on before, but who knows on your timeline. I can't remember the bathrooms of the apartments I used to live in 1988. Can't remember ever using them, showering. No idea what color they were and where they were. Okay, I remember that one. I remember that one. Now I'm going through the bathrooms. Okay. I do remember that one. Huh, it's interesting because certain places I lived in, I can totally remember them, and a few I can't. That's interesting. I don't know if the can't ones were so boring, but city where I was born in, Northern Lights, 2 nights ago. It never happened before. Yeah, just check your history, because in this timeline it may have happened before. Just double check the history. Or they'll say it never happened before, and then 2 years from now they'll say it happened lots of times. That's kind of how it slides along. Venus used to be too gaseous. Yes, it was like a gas planet. It did not have a place to land. You couldn't even fly into the atmosphere because it was too caustic, but you certainly couldn't land because there was nothing to land on. I looked up which states are commonwealths and found 3 different lists. Also, people all disagree. That's interesting. There were no states that were commonwealths like 20 years ago. Because when my mom moved to Guam and I looked up, and she said, it's a commonwealth. And I was like, what is that even? I looked it up on Google. I learned about commonwealths. The United States had 2 of them, Guam and Puerto Rico. And that was it. No states were commonwealths. Now you look up Commonwealth, United States, Commonwealth, DC states, blah, blah. And Guam's not one of them anymore. And I know it was one of them. That is total horse hockey. I'd always say, Mom went to Guam. People go, what's Guam? It's a Commonwealth of the United States. I must have said it like 500 effing times because everybody's like, what's Guam? Why did she move to Guam? What's it like in Guam? I would periodically like restudy it to refresh my mind so that I could accurately explain to people what the hell was going on. That's all gone now. It's not that anymore. So there's been a lot of conspiracy theory about the Vatican too. Apparently, okay, again, this is signs of the times. It is not a Mandela, but apparently they just recently called in all finances and monies should be put in the Vatican bank, if they have some kind of bank, like just a few weeks ago, and then they changed a bunch of their internal structure, and then there's a big stink about them having planetary observatory in Arizona, of all places, and why that is and stuff. So lots of interesting chitter chatter about all that. So now that we have, inflation is through the roof in Europe too. Apparently in places like UK, they've had a 300% raise in costs of electricity and stuff. And that's cold there, so it's hard to squeak by without heating and stuff. Because you're not going to totally die if you have a lot of blankets, but you could if you're not super healthy. And it's cold like every night over there. Like here in the winter, there's some pretty cold nights, but they're not that cold, 37, 42. Well, UK's got that for a big stretch of the year, cold at night. So it's hard for them to do without the heating. I use an electric blanket even on those nights I don't heat the house. But there's going to be hell to pay over there. So there's 3 times the original normal costs. And even that, even like last year's cost was up from, a few years before. So then it's raised 300%. They're talking about raising another 80% in the next month or two, I think it is. So if you 80% on top of a 300% rise, that's about 400 and no, is it 300? Yeah, it's like maybe like a 500% rise, 5 times higher. I mean, imagine if your electrical bill was suddenly 5 times higher. So businesses can't even pay that. I mean, a lot of businesses don't make enough profit to be even worth being open with that kind of electrical bill. Can they maybe cut it a lot by not running the heat? Will they get any customers if they do that? I don't know. I mean, it's like insanity. So all hell's breaking loose on the financial front. I don't know what's going to happen, but something's got to give. In my timeline was a rocky surface beneath all that cloudy gas. Not saying any of the footage is real, just at the storyline. Yeah, see, not for me, though. No, it was gas just couldn't land. Venus and Mars used to be the only planets you could see with the naked eyes. Okay, Shari. For me, there were no planets you could see with the naked eyes 20 years ago. Then Mars started showing up. Then Venus showed up. I think there's some more now. Let's see. What did you say? A republic is something, something. Virginia was a commonwealth when I lived there in the 90s. Not for me. Yeah, and let me know what you see through that telescope. Anything good? A republic is the land. I don't know. I looked it up and they were saying a republic basically just means that it is governed by the people and not a monarchy. That's what the official definition, as much as I could tack it down, was like a couple days ago. You could argue there's more to it, but that's as best I could get. Okay. Well, I got like a half hour left. Venera. Okay, apparently we have red tornadoes now. Rare red tornado. So it's not even like the first time there's been a red terror. A rare red tornado. Red tornado in China. China had a rare. So they're not even sure exactly why it's red. They're guessing it had to do with dust or something. But it was effing red. It wasn't just a little orangey. It was red. It's a red tornado. Dramatic footage showed giant column of wind in bright hue ripping through rural China. Red seems to be the color of the day. Block. All right. This is not a good sign. Page unresponsive. Come on. Uh-oh. That's really not a good sign. All right. It held up all that time. I'm going to close it and start over. Now, it said that was the close button. Flying blind here. Come on. Close. That Daily Mail website might have kicked it over the edge. Where's the delete button? There. Good old Daily Mail. I'm not rebooting, not yet. I gotta see if I can kick off the existing browser to start over. Come on, Task Manager. You could do it. You know, this is so irritating because it worked all week just fine. There. Now we'll close Task Manager. Now we'll try again. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. I don't want to restore. Do I want to restore? But not that. I'm afraid if I go back to that Daily Mail, I'm going to have problems again. Okay, rare red tornado. China, not Daily Mail. We'll not look at Daily Mail. We'll just look at the images. Basically, it just showed, where did it go? Oh, great, now I can't find it. Go. There. This is the image. Boink. Yahoo News Singapore. Here's another image. Looks pretty red. So this kind of weird because it's like in a city. There's no really obvious source of screaming red dust. Normally when we see a tornado, maybe it'll look clear until it hits a building and it'll be building colored. Okay, so I've seen them change color rapidly according to what they were chewing. I have not seen them kind of like stay red for a while. So there's multiple images and it looks like it's red in all of them. Or did it just suck up some dirt like right near there or something? I don't know, but it just seems interesting that they're calling it a rare red tornado. I've never heard of there ever being a red tornado. These are all different images here. I could see it being red for like 5 seconds, but a lot of people are saying they saw it red. There's a lot of different images of still being red from different angles. So I don't know what's going on with this business. Are we getting colored tornadoes now? Are they going to keep the colors for a while? Anyway, something to keep an eye on. All right, see if this is going to load. Top chat is not loading. None of the chat is loading. There we go. Weird video from Vancouver. I will give it a shot. Fingers crossed. See if we get there. You know, this looks like it maybe one of those like art videos or something. Like they protester videos. Or they're coming out of China maybe. I don't know. They aren't really acting like it's an art video, are they? What is going on at the Vancouver airport? It looks like they just got off the plane. Let's see. All right. Did they have any luggage on them? Yeah, see, some of these people, that guy's dragging, they're dragging luggage. So, coming, I don't know. They're all were on the plane, though. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Talking about the big black worm of the footage of Earth I caught on TV and someone, I don't know what that is. Funny how coastal areas are most expensive areas, especially on the West Coast, and rich people are not living. Which area you think would be the safest ones in the nearest future? Okay, yeah, I know that's been on, but basically, I mean, the reason you live on the coast is obvious. The weather is the best there. The ocean is a stabilizing influence. Plus, going to the beach is fun, especially on the West Coast because the summer it's freaking hot and you can really enjoy it on the beaches. Okay, rich people, what they do is they just get a giant insurance thing. So if anything happens to the building, no biggie. They don't keep their like grandma's ancient photos there or anything. And if it falls into the ocean, the insurance settlement covers it. So they're not really worried. These are really rich people. They don't just live on the ocean. And even if they do, that's what insurance is for. So I don't know many that are investing there that actually only really just live there. It's just one of their many homes. So, no big threat. I mean, if I was going to buy a property and then I was worried about something, but then insurance would totally pay me back, yeah, no biggie. They might even claim that their bajillion-dollar heirloom painting went down and demand coverage for that, even if it didn't really. Okay, so what's next? What's next? Watch red tomato, blah, blah. Got you, got you. Ooh, I'm actually making okay progress. Yeah, I only have 2 left. Okay, this one's kind of interesting. I can't believe I've done this well considering all these computer problems. Okay. This is weird. It's like the Mandela is trying to squeeze this stuff into the news by somehow tying it to the Ukraine war, even though the whole concept is ridiculous. Darn, I'm not finding the exact one. I wanted to find the same one because the one that I saw before had some really amusing statements in it. So the story now is that Russia used to own Fort Ross. Fort Ross is in Northern California. I'm like, no, Russia did not used to own parts of Northern California. But the story now is that Russia owned Fort Ross and then later sold it to us, I guess, or somebody, and lost control of it. That there was a lot of Russian ownership all around Northern California. Uh-oh, page unresponsive. All right, try again. So now, like, they're trying to get it. I don't know. It's like the article I read is like, well, a lot of people don't know that Russia had a strong influence on Northern California during the trapping fur hunting days, et cetera, et cetera. And now Russians are mad at the United States because of Ukraine and they want Fort Ross back, which makes no sense. There's no way that, first of all, they sold it. So it's not like we even stole it from them. So they can't get it back because they sold it. So that makes it all the more ironic, the whole thing. I'll try clicking wait, but I doubt it'll work. So why even have a headline like that? I mean, did they just make it up or something? Or is this is this the timeline trying to shop around that Russia now owned a big chunks of Northern California? And apparently that's why the river is called the Russian River. I think there's a river up there called Russian River or something. And they were saying that's why it's called Russian River, because the Russians had control of the area. I don't know. I'd never heard of Russia having property up there, though. Any kind of, it was, Mexicans, Spanish, maybe some French trappers, not effing Russians. I don't even know what to say. All right, I don't know if I have any life. It looks like it's all dead, so I'm going to try one more time. Close the tabs. With the assumption that you're still there. Yeah, no, okay, so, yeah, parts of California used to be Russian. That's the story, and they're sticking to it. This is not boding well if this one won't load. All right, we got you back. I've heard of Russia owning Alaska, but never Northern California. Russia owning Alaska is new-ish to me, but I think we heard about that, what, like a year ago? The Russians are creeping creeping into California, which is ironic. Yeah, so apparently they were like hunting, trapping, and fishing. Now you got to look at the map. Russia's real close to Alaska now, so it makes more sense that they would have been able to come down here more easily. It just never happened before, though. Sorry, that just wasn't the case. All right, I'm going to try this Gizmodo link. Making batteries out of crab shells may be a great idea. Sign of the times. Crucially biodegradable material for batteries. With a substance found in crab and lobster shells. Batteries work as an electrolyte substance that sits between the two electric terminals. Blah, blah. Conventional batteries rely on lead or lithium, but these batteries come with a host of issues. Chitin, so they're looking at chitin. Which researchers combined with zinc. Okay, so it's not that simple because you got to still have zinc. How easy is it to get zinc? To power a battery that they say remains almost entirely energy efficient after 400 hours of use. This crab goo will break down in soil in about 5 months, leaving zinc that can be recycled behind. Well, I don't think zinc could be recycled if you threw it on the soil, but crustaceans are one source. Walls of fungi, parts of chitin's pretty common. Yeah, well, you know, whatever the new batteries are, they're going to have to work better than the old batteries, or people simply not going to use them. But yeah, that is interesting. They have to either work better or be cheaper. There's never been a battery that comes out that works crappier and everybody uses it anyway. Okay, gonna close that. We do really, for the next great leap, we're going to need way better batteries, though. I keep thinking it's coming. It's going to come. That's going to be a big jump because battery power is what holds us back. We can only store energy so well. Like, for instance, that's part of the problem with solar is that we don't store the energy and use it at night very efficiently. So then right when the sun goes down, you're like SOL, pardon the pun. So that's something that also being more independent, if you can have really good batteries, then that'll allow you to have more distributed like places to live and stuff. They paint yellow apple and sell it for red. What? Paint? Were they like dyeing it or something? Oh my gosh. I have never heard of that. That, okay, so I'm just assuming they're using food dye, but what? I probably shouldn't. I shouldn't leave it on too long, but what? Okay. Paint apples to be red. Maybe they can't grow red ones in that region and it's cheaper to paint them than to try to import them. They cost them 10 cents to paint them and they can charge 20 more cents. They don't look very realistic to me though, but I'm not really seeing any info on that. Going back. Salt water of the ocean is the memory compartment of the supercomputer. Physical reality going to be more stable than near the saltwater areas. It's an interesting concept, although personally, I tend to suspect that it's more of some kind of a quantum thing. Consciousness is more like quantum, is my guess. Although, you know, saltwater battery concept is interesting, but okay, so one thing left. I've got 9 minutes. Okay, the Russians thing, that was from Carla Hernandez. So thank you, Carla. Appreciate it with all the excitement. I'm not sure if I'm crediting everybody. I might not be. I did credit Taro. I think the rest are mine. Oh, you know, those weird mini shark beach bugs. That was from a friend of mine online named PJ. So thank you, PJ, for the bugs. And there we go. And thank you, Carla Hernandez, for the Russians in California. It sounds like a weird thing to thank people for. This one comes from Mark Tyus. So we've kind of covered crocodiles moving faster. They used to kind of alligators moving faster. All those big creatures, you know, that look crocs and alligators, they were kind of they were fast in the water, but they were kind of lumbering on land. They'd have to kind of drag. And then at some point, they started moving more like lizards. They could get up on their feet and they could walk. Well, now crocodiles have taken it up a notch. You know that crocodile. So, yes, thank you. Good find, Mark Tyus. See if I can get this to come up. Fingers crossed. They can reach a top speed of 11 miles per hour. Save that in case we have trouble later. I actually did
Galloping
see a rather
may sound
interesting...
like a remnant from the imagination.
Quiet. I don't want to get a copyright strike on this. I saw an interesting video this week also, and that might be the one that they saw. This guy's taking a clip that I was going to take. Basically, crocodiles can gallop now. So a gallop is like a horse where you go like this. Instead of going like this, they're actually galloping. And there was one that's gone a little bit viral lately that it really gallops. And I didn't find that one, and it might be a little risky to totally use that one. Here, this is what I was looking for. So this is some video that's... smaller gators doing it, but basically they can gallop now. See how they go. And the bigger ones can also do it. Looks pretty awkward, but yeah. So not alligators, but crocodiles can gallop. Now they're saying that alligators can't because of some little difference in their anatomy structure. They didn't go into the details. That may change later, who knows. So that's the latest thing. Crocodiles can gallop. I and they reach 11 miles per hour. What is like a human running rate anyway? Human running rate. It really looks to me like they could totally catch you on land now if they wanted to, though. I don't know why humans are like the slowest. Average athlete running speed, like on a track, is 18.23 miles per hour. So, okay, so we could still kind of outrun them. That's an athlete, though. I don't know if I could outrun them. That's an open question. I got short legs. I'm not a fast runner. Then again, there's this thing called adrenaline, so who knows? But yes, they are quick now. Date coffee made of date stone grinded was a new thing for me this year. I've not heard of that. I heard a teenager say, don't be sipping on haterade. I like that. Don't be sipping on haterade. Now, those guys should know because they do. I think the younger generations do tend to sip on haterade a lot themselves. So, throwing rocks from glass houses and all that. But I do like that saying, and it's something that I try not to do too much. I do think rolling around in hate and anger and bitterness and resentment and jealousy is something you should try not to cater to too much. I mean, we're not all perfect, but it's not a good energy to snuggle up with if you can avoid it. Galloping gators, except for their crocodilators. Yeah, there's been a lot of weird deaths lately. People falling out of buildings. You got to wonder if they did it on their own or were pushed. There's a lot of weird stuff. I would say the economy is not doing well. Luckily my business has pretty good profit margins, and I could just dial way back on reinvesting in my business, which is what I've done. But sales are down about 35%. I've heard other people say 25%. One thing to consider is the stuff I sell is just not mission critical stuff. It's not food. It's not a car. It's so it's probably like on the bottom of the purchase list. If people are going to be cutting back on buying a bunch of crap, that's what I sell, is a bunch of crap. Basically, you don't need any of it. So I'll probably get hit harder in any recession, but 35% drop in sales is steep, and I'm hearing it across other businesses. There's no real good reason for it that I could see other than that we're in an effing recession, and so hopefully it won't be that long, but with like rampant inflation, this energy thing, it could get a lot worse. Now, we've seen with the Mandela and with the timelines and whatever that things can turn on a dime and it can look really bad and then just not happen too. So I don't know. But right now, people are hurting for money. And so that could be contributing to some of the intense angst with adults right now. Of course, the kids have been through a lot with the pandemic. The adults too. But, like I was reading on my niece's blog, or not blog, her Facebook, and so basically the pandemic hit and she missed her senior year of high school. So the kids did not get to say goodbye to each other, and then high school was over. And so that would be pretty traumatic because you build up to that, you exchange numbers, you sign yearbooks, you make plans for the summer so you won't get split up. All of that was just blocked. There was never any of that natural conclusion to high school. That's got to be really hard. And I think she was really depressed, and she's a pretty tough girl, but that was really, really hard for her. And a lot of teens. So I think it hits them a lot harder because this is such formative years for them. So now we've got the financial crap, and that is going to hit the older people a lot more. And just the nervousness and stuff. So, I'm a little nervous, but I have a lot of leeway. As long as it doesn't get too much worse, I should be okay. And I'm trying to build my product line and stuff. So, fingers crossed. But I'm okay right now. And a lot of people I think probably aren't okay right now. Armed IRS agents. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of fear porn that just doesn't come to pass at all. So who the heck knows with that stuff? I don't know. And there's a lot of neat stuff coming down too. It's not just all scary stuff. There's a lot of neat inventions, a lot of neat solutions to things that are look like they're just on the edge. So it's like one of those tipping points, and I think it will be disruptive, but I think the changing of the system is going to be disruptive. We're just going to have to hope it's not too disruptive. All right, so what date coffee? All right, I'm going to look at it. Well, you know what? I'm already at 2:02, so I better haul. I don't really have time to look up a date coffee, but I will look at it after this. Date coffee. I'm curious if it's a stimulant like coffee, because coffee doesn't work on me, but I would love a coffee substitute that did work on me. All right, guys, thank you for your patience. Sorry for the rather overly common computer problems for no apparent reason. And thanks for all the Mandelas. And you know the drill. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.